There's no way out, and I can't love the way that I feel. I can't do without your tender love. There's no way out, and I can't love the way that I
What's up, everybody? It is Friday. What's good, everyone? It is your girl, your diva, and knowledge lady Mocha. Represent Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where you know I'm going to always be serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Just got done doing a 12-hour shift, and I still decided to deliver this particular topic to y'all this morning because I felt it was necessary. It needed to be done because it's just too many sisters. It's too many of us as Black women. We keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And I just felt like somebody needed to hear this. Somebody needed this knowledge this morning. What's up, Naima Buckner? Good to see you, my love. Matt B, everybody who's entering the building, appreciate y'all for rocking with me early this morning. Know some of y'all probably smelling yourself because you got your rapid refund. You got that income tax back from that H&R Block. And you know, when Black folks, when we get that rapid refund, we don't be having time to be bothered with nobody. You get what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all rocking with me this morning because I know some of y'all got them rapid refunds deposited and out of count, honey. And y'all probably at IHOP, y'all at Waffle House, y'all doing it up big because them rapid that came in. So much love to all my folks who got their rapid refunds this week because I'm one of them. I'm not hating, I'm congratulating. But I definitely had to do this particular topic, y'all, because if y'all have not heard your girl Nikki Minaj, her Pookie husband, Kenneth Petty, just got arrested. A matter of fact, it was yesterday. When he got arrested, TMZ broke the story. And basically, I'm not surprised it came down to this due to the fact that dude is a registered sex offender. So I don't know why the life of me, nobody thought this wasn't going to catch up with him at some point or another. It just goes to show you that sometimes, a lot of times, when we as Black women, when we reach a level of desperation and we cut ourselves short, and we get to that level where we become desperate and we want so badly to get past a dude, we want so badly to get over a relationship that didn't work out. And it's sad that some of us as women, we got this attitude that the only way to get over a man is to simply just get up under another one, which is really, to me, the worst mistake that a woman could make, because what tends to happen is if you're jumping into another relationship, so hurt, you're so burnt about, you know, your man leaving you or your relationship not working out, when you get to that desperate phase and you just really can't accept the fact that the relationship didn't work out, what tends to happen is you get desperate and you will grab the first guy that gives you any type of attention, even if he's a Pookie. Just the fact that he's giving you attention, you're likely to fall prey to him because you're in a vulnerable state of mind. And I totally believe without a shadow of a doubt, Nikki picked up this dude on a very desperate attempt. Of course, she's not going to admit that. She's not going to say that. She tried to come up with this excuse that they knew each other from way back in the day. They was childhood friends and things of that nature. And come on, ain't nobody buying that story. You know, she did not know him well like that. Basically, Nikki had a lot of failed relationships. Things didn't work out. When Safari left her after 10 years of being in a committed relationship, she jumped right on Meek Mill. You know, she didn't give herself time to heal from losing a 10-year relationship. And anybody who's been in a relationship for a very long time, you've been married for a very long time, it's like a death, you know, when you lose that person. We ain't talking about somebody you know for 5 months, for 3 months. I'm talking about when you put in about 10 years or more. That's a lot of goddamn time that you invested in somebody. And for you to just up and jump into the next dude's arms before you can fully mentally recuperate from losing a relationship, that's just a recipe for disaster. And I had a lot of people who was upset with me when I told them her and Meek Mill was not going to work out. I spoke that into existence from the moment she got with the dude because she moved on so quick. And a lot of that came from the fact that Safari walked out of her life and he kept it moving and he never looked back. And one thing about being a woman, especially a black successful woman, we get this attitude where we feel this sense of entitlement where a man is supposed to just cater to us and worship the ground we walk on. And that's pretty much what Nikki did. Nikki kind of smelled herself. She was a humble girlfriend. She was a humble fiance when she was in the struggle of becoming an artist. But as soon as she became this big time artist, she forgot the dude who held her down when she wasn't big like that, when she was small like that. People could talk about Safari all they want, but I'm gonna be honest, Safari has my utmost respect. He kept a 100. To me, he was kind of like Remy Ma's husband, Papoose, in a sense. He held it down for that chick. Everybody wants to drag Safari through the mud, but if y'all saw in the initial beginning how hard this dude was rocking for her, I can never hate Safari. I give Safari the utmost respect. You know, he just had a baby with Erica Mena. I don't know why he chose her, but that's none of my business. But I give dude a lot of respect that he held it down. He let Nikki shine. He represented. Rich Safari was in the crowd cheering his woman on. That's how hard he was riding for her. And sure enough, when the fame got in her head, she forgot where she came from. She forgot the dude that held her down, and things went left. What's up, Titan? And that's basically what happened. So ever since then, Nicki Minaj's love life has pretty much been spiraling out of control. And I kept telling folks when she got with doggone Meek Mill, I knew that wasn't gonna work. I had people coming for me saying, "Oh, you hating on her? Why you hating on another black woman who wants to be happy and wants to move on?" And I was not hating on the fact that she wanted to move on. To me, I'd rather see a woman move on than to be bitter and hateful and try to make a man's life miserable because she can't move on. But she moved on so quick. And the way it was set up, it was just shady because Meek Mill used to be around her and Safari. So to me, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that Meek Mill been spitting in Nikki's ear. It was just a matter of time. Meek Mill was an opportunist waiting, because he probably already sensed there was tension in Safari's and Nikki's relationship. And he just, I mean, he played the game well. That's how you do it. You know, he sat in the background and he waited for the opportunity to arrive where he was able to step in and pull Nikki from up under him. And that's what he did. But really, Meek didn't pull Nikki. Safari left Nikki for Meek Mill to come get her because Safari got to a point to where he said he had to leave Nikki because what was going on was Nikki started treating him more like an employee instead of her man. So, she started making some bread. She started smelling herself. You know how that go. Things went left. And a lot of people could say what they want to say about Safari. They could drag them through the mud and all of that. But when she did her first interview, when they initially broke up, Nikki took that divorce. I mean, not divorce, but she took that breakup hard. She was devastated. She damn near wanted to break down and cry literally when she was doing an interview with Angie Martinez. Matter of fact, if you go on YouTube when I'm done with my content and you put in the interview Nicki Minaj did with Angie Martinez, and she discusses the breakup between her and Safari, Nicki was crushed. She talk all that big trash now and how she paid for this with Safari and paid for that. Well, Nikki can't talk about how she had to pay for Safari stuff, because Nikki ain't got a problem with paying for a man's stuff, because the man she with now, she paying for all his stuff. Hello. So that shade and Safari or whatever the case is, you know what I'm saying? All that come out of hurt. And that's what women do when a man rejects us, or we think we got a man on the string, we think we have a man wrapped around our finger, we think we got a man that's gonna worship the ground we walk on, we start treating him like dirt, we start smelling ourselves, and we get big on him. We think he ain't never gonna leave, and that's basically what happened. Nikki figured because she was Nikki that Safari was never gonna leave, that Safari was gonna eat up whatever she did, and he showed her different. And I got to say, that's a boss move to walk away from a woman that's a millionaire. You know what I mean? I got to give Safari props for that. But anyway, let me move on into the story. If y'all don't know by now, Nicki Minaj is what I would like to call Pookie pedophile husband, was arrested by the feds for not registering as a sex offender. Prosecutors wanted Petty placed on house arrest, but his attorney objected, and instead Petty is being required to wear an ankle monitor. Petty lawyer says he's going to post 100,000 bond later today. Petty will also be under pretrial supervision and has already surrendered his passport. His travel will be restricted to Southern California. Petty also can't use drugs, even marijuana, from legal dispensaries in LA. He will be excuse me, y'all. I can't read this morning. Dispensaries in LA. He has another hearing scheduled for March 23rd. Nicki Minaj's husband past is coming back to bite him in the ass. He's been arrested by U.S. Marshals on an indictment for failing to register as a sex offender. Kenneth Pookie Petty was in federal custody Wednesday. We're told he turned himself into the marshals. According to court docs, he'll face a judge later today. California in July 2019, but according to law enforcement, he got pulled over in Beverly Hills in November, and that's when his legal troubles started. We're told Beverly Hills PD made a traffic stop on November 15th and determined Petty was a registered sex offender in New York State, but had not registered in California as required. He was arrested and released on a $20,000 bond. The LA County DA charged him for failing to register as a sex offender. What's up, Just B? What's up to everybody coming on in? So I'm not surprised this happened. What I'm surprised is how pedophile Pookie got this far, not being able to register himself as a registered sex offender. Because as all of you know, I am a correctional officer. So this is one of my lines of duty as far as to dealing with registered sex offenders and things of that nature. And what a lot of people do not understand, these states do not play the radio when they say, as a registered sex offender, you have to register. They're not bluffing. They're not playing. It's very important that once you become a registered sex offender, regardless of what state you're in, it's imperative that anytime you move inside another state, anytime you travel, you making all type of moves, you have to report that to your probation officer. And it just amazes me that a lot of these registered sex offenders, they become very comfortable, they become very complacent, and they do all type of things outside of the guidelines that they know they're not allowed to do. And basically, it came back to bite Kenneth pedophile Pookie Petty. And it just amazes me, how he did not think this was going to come back and bite him, especially since he's been, because I got information on this, because I know I'm gonna give y'all the information when he was charged with this, because he's been a registered sexual offender for quite some years. He was registered as a level 2 sex offender. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the different levels of a sex offender, I know here in the state of Georgia we have level 1, level 2, level 3. I'm not sure if all states operate that way, but for the most part, when it comes to registering as a registered sex offender, there's 3 levels. Now, level 1 means the sex offender is not too much of a major threat. Most level 1 sex offenders are guys who committed statutory rape, meaning the female complied. She was not raped. In other words, she complied. However, she was underage when she complied. So usually guys who end up in this situation is usually the parents. I had a person in my family who I would not say, he got caught messing with a female underage. And he didn't know she was underage. Supposedly, that's what he said, because a lot of these young women, they're overly developed. They built like women. And hell, let's be frank. Some of you guys, once a female busts it open, y'all don't give a damn how young she is any goddamn. What I'm saying, let's just keep it 100. But anyway, he got caught in the sexual act with this young female, and what happened was her parents literally walked in on them, and her father was military chief. One of those branch. I don't know if he was a Navy or whatever. I don't know. And I know the mother was a police officer. So if your luck can't get any worse, messing with a young broad who has a father in the military and a mother is a police officer, it was just meant for him to get caught. So anyway, they caught him in the act screwing their daughter. And what they did was they held him hostage there until the police got there, and they would not let him put on his drawers. They would not let him put on his clothes. They would not let him get dressed. They intentionally allowed him to sit there booty butt naked until the police came there. So I could only imagine a humiliating ass experience when you banging this young chick and her parents walk in on you, and you want to automatically grab your pants or pull up your pants or whatever, and her father says no, you're going to stay butt ass naked until authorities get here. And to this day, he still has to be registered as a sex offender. And that's been almost 10, 11 years ago. The girl is grown now. She has kids now. Guess what? It don't matter. Once you get involved with somebody underage, it's going to follow you for the rest of your life. So basically, back to Mr. Pookie Petty, Nicki Minaj's boyfriend, well, husband now, because she married this dude. There's, like I said, there's different levels. So level 1 is mostly guys who have committed like statutory rape. Then you have your level 2. Level 2 is not as much as a threat. And Nicki Minaj's Kenneth Pookie Petty, he's a level 2 sex offender according to the Department of Justice website. He was convicted for attempted rape of a 16-year-old girl in 95, during which he allegedly used a knife cutting instrument to coerce her into sex. Petty was delivered an 1854 prison sentence. However, he only spent nearly 4 years behind bars before he was released in 99. Petty was back behind bars in 2006 on first-degree manslaughter charges stemming from a gunfire incident that killed a man named Lamont Robinson in 2002. He spent 7 years in prison for that crime, but was placed on a supervised release program from 2013 to 2018. Nicki Minaj has often defended her husband against fans who have criticized her choice to marry an ex-convict. Just 2 months after marrying Petty, the Yikes rapper snapped on Instagram fans commenting on Petty's former rape charge. He was 15, she was 16 in relationship. But golf, she says, y'all can't run my life. You can't even run your own life. Thank you, boo. So, of course, Nikki's going to defend her husband. I mean, this is what happens. What's up, Dion? This is what happens, women, when you reach that level of desperation and you're constantly finding yourself in relationships that don't work out, and you keep failing one bad relationship after another, one bad relationship after another. And what happens when desperation sets in, the first guy that gives you attention, it don't matter if he Pookie, it don't matter if he a strag, you willing to welcome him in your life, welcome him in your heart, welcome him in between your legs with open arms, because again, you so goddamn desperate. You know what I'm saying? So basically this is what has happened for everybody who's coming in, giving y'all an update. For a lot of you who are not familiar, that Nicki Minaj's husband Kenneth, who I call Pookie Pedophile Petty, is arrested for failure to register as sex offender. So ironically, for all of you don't know, Nikki's brother just got sentenced for the same thing. So I just find it so ironic that Nikki keeps getting surrounded by these pedophile ass dudes. I don't know what's going on, but it's bad enough her brother, he's going to be damn near serving life for it. And now here it is, she's connected with a guy who's also a registered sex offender, and you would think after seeing what her brother had to go through that she would stray away from that, but evidently not. But so basically Nikki's husband Kenneth Pookie Petty is facing the same thing. Now when I first heard about Nikki's husband with the criminal history of child molestation, well, not child molestation, I think he was charged with, let me make sure I'm saying the right charges. Let me see what he was charged with exactly. It just says I think what attempted rape of a 16-year-old. Okay, so I don't know if that's sex molestation because of her age 16. But I thought it was strange. I've been kind of peeped at when I first was made aware of Nikki's husband criminal history and the fact that he was a registered sex offender. I was always curious as to how he was not given the restrictions or limitations that most registered sex offenders have. I thought it was strange how Kenneth Pookie Petty was able to travel from state to state with Nikki without having to report to his PO. Most registered sex offenders aren't allowed to leave the state on any occasion unless they get authorization from their probation officer. And in most cases, POs don't grant registered sex offenders the privilege to travel out of the area in which they was arrested because they don't want the offender entering other states committing the same offenses and endangering other innocent children. Unfortunately, Nikki made the critical mistake that most women on the edge of desperation makes. She picked up a thug, Pet Pookie. Nikki has had much success in the music industry and one of the most successful female rap artists, but her love life hasn't been much successful. Nikki was in a long-term 10-year relationship with Safari before her career blew up, and as her career became bigger, so did her ego. Now, this is what Safari says. Nikki started treating him more like an employee than her man, and because of that, Safari said, "To hell with her millions. I'm tired of being treated like a simp, so I'm out." So Nikki was devastated. She thought once she hit mainstream success that her and Safari was going to live the good life, have babies, live it up, but it went the exact opposite once her attitude started changing. Many of Nikki's diehard fans tried to shade Safari by calling him broke, not having a clue that he played one of the major parts of her career. He wrote some of her songs with her and for her, and he had even taken her to court to get compensated on the parts on which he contributed. Safari took the jobs like a man and he kept it moving. He further exclaimed that if I'm so broke, why would I walk away from a woman that's worth millions? I chose to leave her. She did not leave me, which was true. Then she wasted no time getting up with Meek Mill. Once Nikki got with Meek, she made it well known that Meek would be the man of her dreams. Now, I knew the moment Nikki got with Meek Mill, I knew it was not going to last. Like I said, I mentioned it before. A lot of people was throwing shade at me when I made that comment, like I was hating and all of that. But I just knew it was not going to last because, again, she moved on so quick. And even when she was with Meek Mill, she was just really doing the most. I would notice how when they would do photo shoots and her and Meek Mill would do covers on magazines, front covers and things of that nature. You can just tell she was trying so hard to convince the world how her and Meek Mill was this, what they call a power couple. I mean, the way she was all over him like a porn star. And the thing about it was, Meek wasn't even acting like he was that into her. Maybe it's just me that looked at that way, but to me, Meek was acting more like he was Nicki Minaj's pimp than her boyfriend. The way he was smack her ass on stage, and it's just a lot of disrespectful stuff that Meek Mill would do. That kind of it made Nikki to me look low budget. Thanks to Cicely, appreciate the compliment, ma'am. He didn't seem like her boyfriend, her man. He acted like, yeah, I'm her pimp and this my BRTCH. That's the vibe I had got. Maybe it's just me, but it seemed like when Meek Mill was with Nikki, I got this I'm her pimp type of thing. The way he would pose with her on the red carpet, I was not feeling the vibe at all. And sure enough, the relationship, it didn't last, just like I said it wasn't going to, because she moved on quick. And then this tends to happen to a lot of us as women. When you try to move on so fast from a man that you're really heartbroken, that no longer wants to be with you, and your only way of trying to purge this guy out of your system, you think you could purge a man out of your system by jumping right onto the next man. When in actuality, all it does is it gives the next dude an advantage, due to the fact that he's able to prey on your desperation and your thirstiness, because again, you are only moving on quick just due to the fact that um you just want to prove a goddamn point. And I think that is the problem with a lot of us as women. We always trying to get these one-ups. I'ma show him I can do it bigger and better. I'ma get a guy more better looking. I'ma get a guy that make just as much money, for you to only end up taking another goddamn L. You know what I'm saying? Because again, you're moving on not because you want to. First of all, Nikki made it seem as if she moved on from Safari, when the actuality was Safari moved on from her. So she had no choice but to go after somebody. Safari didn't give her no option. Safari didn't tell her, well, I'm gonna give you time to figure out what it is you wanted. The most devastating thing for a woman is when a man could just walk off from her ass and not even give her explanation. If, as a man, if you really want to kill a woman to her soul, you really want to kill a woman to her spirit, walk away from her and don't even give her ass an explanation. It's like cancer. It will eat her up forever and a day. And that's what happened. So Safari left her hanging and she jumped on Meek Mill only because Meek Mill left the door open. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Sonnies? So she wasted no time getting with Meek. Once Nikki got with Meek, she made it very well known that Meek would be the man of her dreams, just like she boosting up Kenneth Petty. She putting Kenneth Petty on the pedestal. She did the same thing with Meek Mill, tried to put Meek Mill up there for him to only embarrass her and let her back down. You've seen them all over the tabloids with them doing the most. She was posted all over him like a porn star, doing shows together, and what she was tonguing Meek Mill down on stage. Nicki Minaj, I love her music, I love her talent, but she was just doing the most. You can tell that whole move with Meek Mill, that was just a real desperate ass move. What's up, Poetic? I didn't even see you, boo, coming in. Good to see you. You can just tell it was a desperate move, because she was still heartbroken over losing Safari. Basically, she was doing the most, on stage with Meek Mill, and Meek Mill was boosting her up, helping her to do the most. Unlike Safari, who was a humble, low-key dude that stayed in the back so his woman could have all the shine, Meek had to stunt with Nikki on everything. So that relationship, hold on, I lost my damn place because my phone here went out. But that relationship basically became a recipe for disaster. And it didn't work out. Just like, we saw it was a train wreck, because again, how she did it. So let me see my other points here. Let's see. Okay. So like I said, Safari was really laid back or whatever and low keyed. And she got with Meek right away, who has an ego just as big as hers, and a relationship became a recipe for disaster. When that relationship disbanded, out of nowhere, she finds Kenneth Pet Pookie Petty. Pookie Petty has an extensive criminal record longer than Floyd Mayweather's bank statements. I'm just saying. This mistake happens all too often to women that are successful, especially. By nature, women, we love to accessorize. We have to have the shoes to match the outfit or the purse to coordinate with the shoes. So therefore, once a woman has achieved success, in addition to fortune and fame, she's automatically going to feel the sense of I'm supposed to have a man entitlement. All too often, women think because they look a certain way or they make certain amount of money or they have a certain amount of notoriety that they should not be left alone. So women that are successful, they have this attitude where I'm supposed to have a man, I'm supposed to be married by now. So basically, I think that's practically what happened with Nikki. Nikki has this sense of entitlement that she is supposed to have a man because I'm Nicki Minaj. I'm this big time hip hop artist. I deserve to have a man want me because of me being Nikki. It's this in the sense of entitlement and arrogance that unfortunately has come back to haunt her. So unfortunately, all too often women think this way, and I've heard it. I've heard a woman say, I'm too pretty to be by myself. I've heard women say this, or I'm too successful to be single. Like most women, Nikki had already convinced herself that she was not going to be without a man. Women that are used to getting whatever they want are usually the ones who can't handle rejection. Nicki Minaj had two failed relationships that failed in front of the world. Nikki was determined that although she obviously hadn't gotten past her past relationships, she was determined to get somebody because I am Nicki Minaj, the star. Basically, Nikki will be taking a major L in 2020 for making a thirsty ass move by marrying pedophile Pookie Petty. It is what it is, okay? Um, let's look at the history of Pedophile Pookie, which is Nicki Minaj's husband. Uh Pedophile Pookie has been causing a scene lately, drawing negative attention to himself. He had the gun possession charge, then he was beefing with Meek Mill. Now he's failing to register as a sex offender. So now he has that kind of heat on him today. So unfortunately now Pookie Petty has not had the best of luck since he's been married to his newfound wife. Most Pookies, which rather if your Pookie is pedophile or non-pedophile, are very possessive when it comes to their women because they easily get threatened by real men. Now, I've been hearing Kenneth Petty do all this extra stuff by being overly possessive of his wife Nikki. And I know that some women, they may find it attractive when they have their pet Pookie, so quick to growl like a bulldog at the moment he feels like somebody is a threat to his lady, or the moment he feels like somebody's trying to attack his lady. I know some women might find it cute and they might find it fascinating that their pet Pookie is quick to charge like a pit bull the moment they feel threatened. You better not be talking to my old lady. You better not be looking at my old lady. I mean, like this last incident with him and Meek Mill. Kenneth Petty just really turned up the heat and it wasn't even that serious. But this is the trick that I realized that dealing with pet Pookies. And I've done a video on this before. A matter of fact, the video is labeled Pet Pookies is possessive of their women. And this is what a lot of women are not understanding about Pookies. Just because you have a Pookie that's growling and every time a man is in your face, he wants to beat down another man for you, or the moment somebody says something to you, he's quick to want to fight and attack like a pit bull. A reason why a lot of these pet Pookies do stuff like that is not so much because they love you and honor you and they respect you and they don't want nobody disrespecting their woman, but what it has to do with the fact is that's their way for compensating basically being zeros. That's basically what it boils down to. It's because he knows he's lacking in so many other areas. So in order to not feel like a loser and not look like a loser, he has to turn up and become this raging ass pit bull just to prove to his ego that he's really a man. When in actuality, he's not really a man. He's a pet Pookie. And there's a lot of pet Pookies that are so quick to be possessive of their women. The moment they think another man looking at their woman, they want to fight or beat somebody down or cuss somebody out. They quit to run to their woman's rescue, every time. And it has nothing to do with them defending their woman. A pet Pookie knows he has to prove he's a man by acting like a damn raging ass pit bull. That's his way of trying to convince his lady that I'm protecting you, that I'm guarding you. But really, that's just a manipulative ass tactic for him to get out of being the real man he's supposed to be. If acting like a pit bull is going to prevent him from having to get a real job and work a real 9 to 5 like a real man, he got all day to be a pet Pookie, to scream and holler at other people every time he feel like somebody's trying to attack you. That's what pet Pookies do. That's the language of a pet Pookie. So it just goes to show you that the mindset of a Pookie. So ladies, don't think that is cute because you have pet Pookie. Every time you have a conflict or you have a falling out with somebody, he wants to run to your rescue. He wants to beat up people. And some of these pet Pookies, they are so overly possessive, they even get in a woman's cat's fights. Now, when I see a grown ass man getting in conflict between his lady and another goddamn woman, to me, that's some simp ass. That's just straight simpish behavior. No grown man should be fighting his woman's battles if she's beefing it with another woman. That's straight pet Pookie to the third power. If you are a grown ass man fighting your woman's battles when she's beefing with other women, you need you a 9 to 5 because evidently you don't have a job. Because a man who got a real 9 to 5, he don't have all day to fight all of his women's battles, especially when it's with another woman. Okay, what's up, Martha? Everybody enter in the chat. Possessive pet Pookies can be violent and deadly too. Exactly, exactly. Exactly. And you got a lot of these low self-esteem females like Nicki Minaj who thinks because she got this raging pit bull that's quit to growl at anybody who he thinks even wants his woman, and in the back of her bird brain ass mind, she think it's cute. Like, oh, that's my boo. He's protecting me. Oh, that's my man. He's guarding me. He's protecting me as his woman. No, he's protecting his investment. You are his bank account. You taking care of him. You probably paying his child support and everything else. Of course, he's going to be protective of you when you're doing every goddamn thing from him. That's how delusional some of us as Black women have become. And that's why we keep losing. And I cannot get mad at these Black men. I cannot fault them for it. I can't even go in on these Black men. I can't because, ladies, it's our fault when you let dickspiration, not desperation, dickspiration set in. Guess what? You make some sloppy ass decisions. And when you do that, the first thing you want to do is sit here and blame all these Black men. All Black men are dogs. All Black men ain't no good. All Black men ain't right. No, you ain't right. You the slow one. You the dummy. Your elevator ain't went all the way up. You one fry away from a Happy Meal deal. So a lot of us as Black women, we put ourselves in these shitty ass positions, excuse my French, because we let dickspiration set in. So at the end of the day, we have to hold ourselves accountable as Black women for why we keep falling short, because it's too many females like Nicki Minaj that's picking up these thug pet Pookies who they think is cute, that guards them like bulldogs. And then these are the same dudes that's beating your ass behind closed doors if he called you 2 times and you ain't pick up. I'm telling you, I don't deal with females that go with a pet Pookie, because me and you cannot be out having drinks and we sipping drinks, having a girls' night, and pet Pookie is blowing up your iPhone every 5 minutes, wanting to know where the hell you at. Want to know when you gonna be back home. You know what I'm saying? I don't have time for that. But let me get back to this. Talking about the situation with Nicki Minaj and her pedophile Pookie husband who done got arrested. Now, Nicki, like most scorned women, made a rash decision by choosing pedophile Pookie out of hurt, spite, and revenge, which was eventually going to backfire. Let me tell you guys something, you guys and you ladies. You can tell a lot about a woman's level of thinking based on the type of dude she chooses. You can tell a whole lot about a woman, just like you can tell a whole lot about a man based on the kind of woman he picks up. You can tell a whole lot about a person based on who they choose as a mate. Now, I know this Nicki Minaj, before she got with Pet Pookie, she could not connect with Nas. Now, remember, her and Nas was dating for a short period of time. It came and went so quick, so a lot of people probably don't remember, or they probably never knew, because it was a short dating period. She couldn't connect with Nas. And I knew the moment that her and Nas was dating that it wasn't going to work because, for one, Nas is a very masculine, manly man. And Nas is very intellectual and knowledgeable. And no disrespect to Nicki, but she has too much bird brain shenanigans that would have only irritated him. So I say that to say this, and it may sound like I'm dogging her, but I'm really not dogging her, because at the end of the day, my account don't match like Nicki Minaj. I ain't making no money like she making. I ain't well known. I ain't nowhere on her status quo. But this is just my opinion. I think Nicki's a bit much. She seems like the type of female. She's very childish. She seems like she's very little girlish. So I think Nas was smart enough and he spotted right off the back, like, oh no, I ain't even about to get that deep with you. And females that have this type of bird brain mindset, they will only they will aggravate men that are very intelligent. If you're a female that got a bird type of brain and you're not really intellectual, you don't have any real type of knowledge, you don't have a whole lot of wisdom, anytime you're dealing with a man that's very intellectual, you're going to irritate him, because while he's having conversations on levels that are very what's the word, that's very deep and spiritual, being that you cannot vibe with him on that lesson, on that level, you will become very irritated with him, and he will become very irritated with you, because you really can't relate with him. You really can't comprehend anything he's saying, because you're not on the same level of knowledge that he is. That's why rapper Nas got smart and he backed away from her immediately. He saw she was a bird brain. I'm not saying she's not talented. I'm not saying she's not beautiful. She's all of that. But I've seen some interviews and I've heard how Nicki Minaj talks, and I'm like, she kind of sounded like a little bird brain. Just some of the things she would say. It doesn't mean she's a dumb woman, but she's just not that highly intellectual. And that's not her fault. Maybe she didn't get a chance to get the education she needed before she became successful. Maybe she didn't really have parents that really talked to her. I don't know. I'm just guessing. But that's why Nas got smart and he backed away. And I will give both of them this. When Nas and Nicki Minaj, when it didn't work out, neither one of them dragged each other. They didn't talk bad about each other. They just kind of went their separate ways and went cut it off clean slate. Now, had she stayed with Nas, she could have learned a lot from him. He's the type of man you can tell you can learn a lot from. But then again, teaching a woman how to be a woman could become a migraine for a man. You know what I mean? So it's just certain things that men expect from us as a woman to know how to do without them having to train us. But just goes to show, no matter how rich and successful a person may be, you can't purchase common sense in a bottle. She's talented, she's beautiful, but the elevator just doesn't go all the way up. The mall open, but ain't nobody shopping, like my grandmother would say. So let's see. My thinking going away. Both of them were not, to me, honestly, Nicki Minaj and her husband uh Kenneth, pedophile Pookie, neither one of them was smart. Neither one of them in this whole situation. It was like the blind leading the blind. Nikki witnessed what her husband, I mean, what her brother had gone through with this type of offense. Nikki's brother just got locked up, I think, 2019 and 18 for child molestation and registered, all of these issues with these criminal offenses involving children. She saw what her brother went through. So her witnessing that should have strayed her away from wanting to marry Kenneth, pedophile Pookie, because she saw where her brother landed. Most importantly, though, pedophile Pookie, Kenneth Petty, he should have known better, because when he was giving these charges, even though he was 15, 16 years old, or however at the time, the judge, the district attorney, they made it very clear to him all of his restrictions the moment he became registered. So what the hell was he thinking? Oh, I'm married to a millionaire, so I can F off and not have to reap the consequences of my actions. Dumb and Dumber. Now, I definitely wanted to go into is it worth being in a relationship with a registered sex offender? And believe it or not, there are a lot of women that are in relationships with registered sex offenders. And I just felt it was important that I shared this knowledge with some of my sisters out here, because I understand that you may be feeling like your back is against the wall and you so badly want love, and you want a relationship, you want to be wiped up, you want to be married and things of this nature, but you still need to be careful when you let desperation set in, because you end up making foolish decisions. Now, I want to go into the situation with Nicki Minaj's husband being arrested for failing to register as a sex offender. So I want to share this information with you ladies out here, about, is it worth it even being in a relationship with a registered sex offender? And the reason why I'm sharing this information is because y'all will be amazed at how many women are aware that their significant other has a criminal history of some type of criminal offense that has been committed against a child. Yet these women will date them, and in worst case scenarios, marry them like Nicki Minaj did, and have children from them like Nicki Minaj wants. And there are far too many risks involved in being with a man that has to register as a registered sex offender. And I'm going to break down all of the elements as to basically, what's up, Shar? Basically, what Nikki is going to be having to deal with, being that she has married this pedophile Pookie. And for all of you women out here, if you're dating a guy that's a registered sex offender, or you're thinking about it, you need to be aware of what you're going to be signing up for. And this is why I'm giving y'all this information, because a lot of these guys that are registered sex offenders, what I don't like is a lot of these dudes, they will try to downplay their story. I hear all the time, if you really, really want to keep it 100 and you really want to think about it, what registered sex offender is going to say, yes, I really had a problem with sticking my ding ding in young girls' couture. You know what I mean? They're not going to say it like that. They're not going to say, I'm lustful, I'm sick, I got a sexual demonic spirit where I just love to insert myself in children and young females. They're not going to say that. They're going to downplay it and say, well, I was drunk, or the girl wasn't young. I was lied to, and she told me she was 18 years old. I didn't know she was 13. Every registered sex offender, not one of them jokers have ever really admitted it's always been a child fault. And if you listen to them real good, you will hear they will not really take accountability for it. It's going to always be, I didn't know she was that young. She looked older, or I thought she wanted it, or they're going to come up with excuses. And that's why you have to be very careful, even if these guys have an excuse for why they are a registered sex offender. You need to find out the probation officer name, contact that probation officer, and they will let you know the real details of that story. Because again, I'm a correctional officer. I'm around a lot of dudes that are straight up registered sex offenders, and you would not even know looking at them. And these guys walk around acting hard, acting tough, and they straight up pedophiles. They straight up Pookie pedophiles and be walking around all big and cocky with big muscles, but you like little girls. You know what I'm saying? So just be careful, ladies. Now, this is what y'all need to be aware of. This is the first thing that Nicki Minaj and any woman who wants to get involved or marry a man that's a registered sex offender. The first thing is this. Registered sex offenders have to be registered as sex offenders for the rest of their life. Meaning that Nicki Minaj, she decided to marry Kenneth pedophile Pookie. He's going to be a registered sex offender for the rest of his life. It don't matter if he committed it 12 years ago, 30 years ago. Once you get that stain on you, you cannot remove it. It is there for life. What's up, y'all? How you doing, hon? It's there for life once they get it. I've heard, I don't know how true it is, but I've heard guys who've been totally consistent, going to the classes, following all the guidelines. I've heard in some cases those who really get rehabilitated are in some cases they do get dismissed of having to register, but that's rarely, so don't bank 100% on that. But basically this means that any woman that's willing to be with the pedophile Pookie, they must accept the fact that her home is going to be invaded on a regular basis, because registered sex offenders are going to be assigned a probation officer that is going to be required by state law to do unexpected spontaneous home visits. This is the state's way of ensuring the offender is following the guidelines and isn't doing anything to jeopardize their probation or the lives of innocent children that can fall prey to these low-life victims. So this is the part that Nicki Minaj is not understanding. She done married this pedophile Pookie, and what she's not understanding is because she made this dude her husband, his probation officer is going to have access to her life as well. And a lot of and I hate to say this, but it's so many of us as black women, we are picking up these pedophile ass dudes. A lot of us are not doing our research because we so badly want a man in our life. We so badly want a man in our house. We so badly want a man to play kids to our daddies. I mean, to play daddy to our kids. We so badly want a man. We don't do no research. We don't check nothing. We automatically, just because he looked good, just because he dressed good, just because he got a job, just because he put the dick game down in the bedroom, we overlook a lot of significant details. And it just goes to show you, ladies, it don't matter who you are, what you are, you can fall prey. Nicki Minaj is a multi-platinum selling female artist, and even she has stooped so low to pick up a pedophile Pookie. So don't think that it can't be you. Don't think that you could have not ended up in that situation, because again, she looked at how good he looked, and not only that, Nikki rushed and moved on with Kenneth pedophile Pookie so quick, basically because she was hurt about Safari and she was hurt about Meek Mill, because she gave it no time. This dude came out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So she can say what she want to say. But the truth of the matter is she grabbed that man out of hurt, out of desperation, out of anger, because she had two failed relationships from back to back. And ladies, that's our fault. When you get desperate and you don't give your hearts or your vagina time to heal, it don't take much for a Pookie to win you over. And that's what happened. Nikki really didn't want him like that. It just so happened that he came in her life at a very vulnerable ass moment when shit was already going left. Let's just keep it frank. Yeah, and research is important because you need to check your area to see if there's any registered sex offenders. I'm married and I still check the registered sex offender list because I need to know if my daughter decides to go out there and date somebody. Yes, it is important as women. We have to do our research because a lot of these females, they're not understanding. You don't know what the hell you picking up. I don't care where you live. Every state has a website in which you should be able to look up and see what Pookie pedophiles are in your goddamn area. There's no excuse for it. Black women, we own Instagram, posting selfies. We use the internet for every goddamn thing else. Why not use the internet to look up these potential Pookie pedophiles? There's no excuse for it. It is what it is. What's up? Ask a classy black man. Yep, and instead get pregnant by an undisciplined criminal. It happens all the time. You're right about that. But you should, he says, you should be made to sign a no more complaining about men waiver when you normally pick a pedophile. Absolutely, absolutely. And guarantee you when things go left with Nicki Minaj and this man, she's going to sit up here and blame him for everything as if she did not choose him. This happens all the time. I mean, on the guy, the girls usually know what the guy's about. I got you when Titans make sense. What's up? They say nay. I'm 26, but I had to that live right next door meant too. Okay, gotcha. They got a lot of them around schools, and that's what I'm going to talk about because a lot of y'all sisters out here, y'all doing a Nicki Minaj. Y'all is picking up these Pookie pedophiles because you don't let dickspiration, not desperation, you don't let dickspiration set in. And you're making some very poor choices when dickspiration set in. Now, let me read the other information. I made notes on this, y'all, so just bear with me. So that's the first thing y'all have to realize. If you do decide to get with a man or marry a man that's a registered sex offender, he's going to have what's called a probation officer. So that means whenever, if you decide to have this man move into your home, his probation officer has to come into your house to make sure he lives there. So now that Pookie Kenneth Petty has had to re-register as a sex offender, Nicki Minaj is going to have to deal with this probation officer coming to her mansion, walking in her 8-9 bedroom home or whatever, and he's going to have that authority to come and check on pedophile Pookie as much as he wants, because by the order of the state, he has to do that. Once you are a registered sex offender, you don't get to tell your probation officer, I don't want you coming to my wife's house. I don't want you coming to my house anytime you want. That is your probation officer's job, to make sure that you are living at the address that you told them during the time of your arrest or whatever the case is. So that's the first thing, ladies. You're dealing with a registered sex offender. You're going to have to deal with his probation officer. That comes with the territory, all right? Next thing is registered sex offenders have an extensive amount of severe, strict rules, policies, and procedures. So keep in mind, if you're going to get rid of registered sex offender like Nicki Minaj, he's going to have so many rules up his ass. He's going to be so limited. It's damn near going to make the relationship unbearable, because it's a lot of stuff he's not going to be able to do, because again, he's going to be limited by the laws. As a registered sex offender, there's going to be a lot of stuff that he cannot do, and I'm going to get ready to go into that too. Poetic says, any woman dating a pedophile is the bottom of the totem pole, desperate, pathetic, insecure, and untrustworthy. Yes, girl, you got my vote on that one. They say that so they not check for the BS. Yep. Women knowingly date and marry them. Yeah, they knowingly date and marry them. They know exactly what the hell they signed up for. Now, for some of you who don't know, because again, I'm in corrections, so I'm sharing with you the rules and regulations these registered sex offenders have, because I don't want y'all up here being naive into thinking that these guys are getting off easy. Now, one of the things, being a registered sex offender, you have to live. You're limited in where you can live. You're limited. Ask a classy black man, thank you for the $2 donation. So Steve Urkel was to blame, but criminals are better. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Ask a classy black man. So that's the first thing. If you're going to marry a registered sex offender, you cannot just live where you want to live, ladies. Okay. the way it is, registered sex offenders, and this is what Nicki Minaj is going to be going through if she decides she wants to be with this Pookie pedophile for the rest of her life. They cannot live near any school zones. I think they say Nay mentioned that earlier. One of the ladies in here mentioned it, but it's very true. Um, they cannot live near any school zones. That's out. And that's damn near impossible because it's not too many places you can live where you're not living near a school. They can't live near any child care centers. They can't live near any libraries, amusement parks, and any such places where the majority of children will live, reside, or go to. They have to live. They have to live a certain amount of feet away from these type of places. This ensures the safety of children. Can you imagine how unbearable that's going to be? Because schools are everywhere, children stay everywhere. That's damn near going to be hard unless you live on way in the boondocks. But I guess Nicki Minaj, she makes that kind of money where she could live, in her own goddamn island and not even have to worry about it. But that's going to be a hellified adjustment. That's the price that comes along with being with a registered sex offender. You can't live nowhere where a lot of children reside, and again, that's to protect the children from falling prey, and that just comes along with the territory. Martha says it happens. Not all women were raised the same. Some suffers from low self-esteem and self-worth. They don't think logically about their future. Absolutely. It doesn't have to just be so happen a broken woman that ends up in that situation. You could be a woman who got your shit together, good job, make good money, and just fall for a dude who was a goddamn pedophile. You know what I mean? Because you fell for him before you really got to know his history. So now you stuck because you fell in love with him, but you fell in love with him without knowing the history. So it's like a double-edged sword. They can't, but some complex and residents don't care. Yeah, some complex and residents don't care, but let me tell you how it goes. They say that is the reason why you have us call a probation officer. Because guess what? If that probation officer knows that complex or that apartment has a bunch of goddamn kids, guess what? I don't care how thirsty that landlord is to get a tenant because they want some money. That probation officer is going to tell them you can't live there. First of all, when it comes to being a registered sex offender, you have to let your probation officer know where you live before you even move there. A lot of people don't know that, but guess what? As a registered sex offender, you don't get to choose where the hell you want to stay. All right. For us non-registered sex offender folks, yeah, we can do that. If you want to stay in a condo, if you want to stay in a studio apartment, if you're not a registered sex offender, you can choose to live wherever the hell you want to live at, but not a registered sex offender. They don't get to choose. So really, it don't matter if the tenant don't mind that they're a registered sex offender. That probation officer by law is ordered by the judge to ensure that that registered sex offender is not living in an area near any school zones, near any child care centers or any of that. That's the purpose. That is why these registered sex offenders, that's why they got probation officers that follow them, that keep up with them, because they know it's going to be people out there who don't give a damn, that's going to let these guys live any goddamn where. Because I have a cousin that's one. And every time he moves, before he can move, he has to let his probation officer know. Because the moment you make a move and you don't tell that probation officer, oh, you're getting arrested. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, this is the next thing. Like I mentioned, they can't live where they want to live. The next thing is they cannot have any possessions. Registered sex offenders can't have any items in their possessions to lure children. If you are a registered sex offender, like Nicki Minaj's husband, he's going to have so many rules till it's just going to be ridiculous. When you're a registered sex offender, you cannot have nothing in your possession that lures children, meaning you cannot have stuffed animals, you cannot have toys, you cannot have bags of candies, you can't have games. The probation officer is thoroughly going to check where the offender lives to make sure he doesn't have these things. So again, if you as a woman, you decide you want to be with a registered sex offender, your personal space will be invaded because it is court mandated that your probation officer checks and makes sure that this registered sex offender is not going outside of the guidelines. Registered sex offenders, they have it so bad, they can't even have a cell phone. Well, let me take that back. I lied. They can have a cell phone, but you know how we have like an iPhone or a smartphone where shows all type of pictures, and we can record with the camera. You know how we can record with our phones and do little record videos and stuff. They have to get basic standard phones, like little flip phones that don't do that. That's how critical it is as a registered sex offender, because what it is, they don't want you trying to talk to children on Facebook and social media and other websites. You get what I'm saying? Because a lot of these kids now, they have access to social media. So as technology changes, the law has to change. So Nicki Minaj's husband, he's not going to be able to get a regular iPhone or no Android phone, because again, all our phones come with apps, right? All our phones come with Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. When you're a registered sex offender, you are not allowed to have anything that gives you access to social media. That's how strict it is. A lot of people don't think that damn deep. You have to get one of them old ass phones. I think it's called like a jitterbug that them elderly people use that got AARP. It's just a big ass flip phone. You can't even take no pictures of nothing hardly. It's just a phone where you can call in and call out. That's how bad it is. I'm not even lying to y'all. This is stuff I'm telling you that I know, that comes with the territory of becoming a registered sex offender. So you cannot have anything, and don't think your probation officer is not going to check your phone. Your probation officer wants to see what kind of phone you got. Because if you got an iPhone or Android phone and you can take pictures and go on social media, you best believe your probation officer is going to take that goddamn phone from you. If not, he's going to arrest you for it, because as a registered sex offender, you cannot have access to anything that's going to give you access to children. Okay? So if you're going to be with a man or you're going to marry a man as a registered sex offender, don't buy him no iPhone, okay? Don't buy him no Android. You better give him the first goddamn Motorola flip phone that came out, okay? The very first one, all right? That's the way it's going to go. Exactly, Martha. That's why I'm doing this content. People don't want to see how real it is when you're dealing with a registered sex offender. It's real in the battlefield. Now, this is the next thing. The odds of him getting a job, a legit job, is going to be difficult for him to earn income. No one wants to hire a registered sex offender, and too many establishments have children there. As a registered sex offender, one of the biggest rules is you cannot reside where children are. Exactly, ladies. They say more complicated than she is used to dealing with. Absolutely. She did Meek Mill. She thought Meek Mill was gonna take her for a ride. She really about to go on for a ride, okay? Because I don't think Nikki really understands how the law works, and it's not her fault. You know what I mean? She doesn't deal with the criminal justice field like that. Evidently, she doesn't understand, especially when her brother is already doing time for sexual crime offenses against children, and she still decides to be with a man that has the same issues. Evidently, I know she don't understand it. She can't understand it. So, not that she needs Kenneth pedophile Pookie to work, because we know Nikki is a millionaire. She don't need him to work. But it's just the fact that for us average women, you're going to be the one paying the bills, because there's not going to be too many jobs that are going to hire your Pookie pedophile who is a registered sex offender. Not only that, say if these jobs want to hire your Pookie pedophile, the problem is a lot of these establishments, they let children. If you think about it, there's really not too many places you can work where there's not children. Even if you work to a pizza parlor, children are going to be there. Even if you work to an ice cream shop, children are going to be there. You work at Dairy Queen, you work at damn Burger King, children are everywhere. And part of being a registered sex offender, you cannot reside in places where there are children. Exactly, they say. That's why they said common sense ain't common, because everybody ain't got it. That's what my grandfather used to tell me. Now, So it's going to be hard for him and her to be able to live a good life because, again, your husband cannot be around children. It's not too much goddamn things you could do without children being there. You can't go to the zoo without children being there. Children, you can't go to the goddamn mall almost without children being there. I don't think it's that bad. You get what I'm saying? But he can't really go too many places where there's going to be too many children. So it's going to be hard. You know, not action. Exactly, they say. So that's gonna be another bigger problem. He not. If you're gonna get with a registered sex offender, ladies, he cannot get a job. So you better be ready to be the one to pay all the goddamn bills, because that's the way it's going to be. There's no guarantees. He may look up and get somebody that's willing to accept his situation and hire him, and he may not get no one who wants to hire him. So that's the next thing. This is the other problem that's going to be for Nicki Minaj with her Pookie pedophile husband. He cannot travel out of the state due to his restrictions. Guess what? If you're a pedophile Pookie, you don't get to just go on cruise boats. You don't get to go out on water and travel in a yacht and get a suntan. Hell no. You cannot leave the states. You are a registered sex offender. You cannot leave the states and go other places where you can possibly commit the same act with other children. He can't travel with her. He's on arrest, what the hell they call it? He's on house arrest now. So Nikki gonna be on the red carpet a lot by herself. Or if he does come on the red carpet, she better have his ass back to her house at 6 o'clock. He gonna have a curfew. He not gonna be able to pop bottles with her in the club. Oh, that's another thing. They already made it clear he cannot use no drugs, no alcohol, no marijuana. He can't none of that. When you with a star of that status, you can't smoke no weed, you can't drink, you can't have no Cristal, you can't have no Dom Perignon. Do y'all realize how restricted this man's life is going to be? He with a woman that got all this money and he can't do nothing. Cause I read where he can't drink no alcohol. He can't even be in establishments with no alcohol. He can't smoke no marijuana. And I could tell I could tell him and Nikki love to smoke some weed. Nothing wrong with that. She's not gonna be able to enjoy him. That hella sucks. To be with somebody that got that much money and y'all can't do nothing together. All because he wouldn't register as a sex offender. And he's gonna get random piss tests and drug tests. So if he think he's gonna be slick and smoke weed and all of that, and they not gonna catch him, he taking a chance. He can't go with Nikki to no after parties and pop some bottles in the hotel lobby and VIP front seats. She gonna be sitting right at that goddamn house with him. That's where she gonna be at. Yeah, they're gonna be sitting right in her house. Red carpet, my foot. So he can't travel out of state. So ain't gonna be no honeymoon, no cruises, no none of that. He has a curfew, which means they're gonna have limited time together. As a registered sex offender, and because he has violated now, had he stayed straight the whole time, he probably could buy him off. But because he has shown and demonstrated that he's not going to follow the registered sex offenders policies, rules, or regulations, they're not going to make it easy for him. They're not going to give him any chances. Not only that, registered sex offenders, they got to attend classes and then they got to pay for them classes. It's a lot. This is another thing. With him having a curfew, like I said, it limits them from freedom, especially on certain holidays like Halloween and Christmas. Now, I know here in where I live, when it's Halloween, because how the kids go trick-or-treating, all the registered sex offenders here in my hometown, they make all the registered sex offenders report to a community center. That way, while all the kids are out trick-or-treating, none of the registered sex offenders can use Halloween to their advantage. So I'm grateful that our county is very strict on these registered sex offenders. They don't play the radio with them. So on special holidays like that, they make them all report, and they don't relieve them until a certain time. That way the children are kept safe and protected. Now, this is the next thing. You could possibly lose your child if defects is involved. The state can and will take your children away from you out of your home if they're aware that under the court of law, you're a registered sex offender. Now, fortunately, Nicki Minaj does not have any children yet. Had she had children, first of all, she wouldn't have been able to be with them because the registered sex offenders laws, the way it is, they don't care how much you trust the man around your children. By law, they're not going to allow you to have your children around registered sex offender. And I thank God the law is strict on that, because some of these women are so goddamn desperate. They'll let these Pookie pedophiles be around their children. They'll let them move in with their children. They let them sleep in the same bed with their children, and they see nothing wrong with it. So it has happened too many times. So that's why now the law has gotten involved and said, you know what? We are going to protect these kids. We're not going to leave it up to the mothers anymore. We're going to protect them. So Nikki, what I've been hearing, Nicki Minaj has been trying to get pregnant. She's been trying to bear his seed. What she doesn't understand is just because that's his child, the state could say no. He cannot live with you because he is an endangerment to your child. Even though he is the father, even though y'all had that child together, he is an endangerment to children. That's why he is registered as a sex offender. She's not looking far ahead. Right now, she's being desperate. She's being thirsty. She's trying to prove a point to Meek Mill. She's trying to prove a point to Safari. She's trying to prove a point to these guys who disappointed her, or who I say she allowed to disappoint her, whatever the case is. And she's just making rash decisions out of hurt and pain because she wants to have a one-up. Subspud says Nikki and Angela Simmons are a perfect example of money not bringing wisdom. Absolutely. They pick up the worst breed of men that they could possibly find. So if you decide to marry a pedophile or registered sex offender, or have children from a registered sex offender, or if you live in a household with your grandchildren, or your children got children, you're not allowed by law to have a registered sex offender live with you. If somebody calls and reports it, defects could possibly take your children away. I don't know who would want to make a risk like that over a dick or whatever, but some women will jeopardize their safety and everything just to prove a point, just because they want a man. And this is the next thing. Your family may not deal with you, or the people or people who have children. Once people know that your husband, like Nicki Minaj, is married to this Pookie pedophile, her family may not say nothing, but I know they feel some type of way. That's by human nature. If any of us in here, if you find out your sister married to a pedophile, you find out your female cousin, it's gonna make you feel some type of way when she comes around with him, especially when you have children. Especially. You know what I'm saying? So nobody's not going to trust you. And can you blame them? Hell no. If I know you're a registered sex offender, first of all, you better not even pull up to my front yard. You better not even pull up across the street. I don't want you nowhere near me. Don't bring those demonic spirits near my household. Certain spirits get in your house, you can't get rid of them. And you wonder why all kind of crazy stuff is happening. And that's how I feel. They say, Nate, I know she's not over me. She ain't over neither one of those guys, really. That's why she ran into the arms of the pet Pookie, because again, she's hurt and disappointed with her relationship not turning out the way she had. Now, this is just my observation. What I think may possibly happen in the future if Nikki decides to stay with Kenneth, Pookie, pedophile Petty. It's just my observation. I'm not saying it's a fact. One possibility is he may end up costing her millions because she may get to a desperate point in which she may be willing to help Pookie redeem himself. She may be paying for high cost lawyers to try to get his record expunged, just like that broad who won the mega million and paid all those millions to try to get her boyfriend bailed out of jail. I hate when I lose my place. The state is going to take her for everything she has if she's desperate enough to go that far to keep him. Now, this is another thing that Mrs. Nicki Minaj, Mrs. Let me say it correct because her last name is Petty. She's married to Petty pedophile Pookie. She may get so desperate that she may be willing to spend so much money to try to climb him out of this mess. And a lot of women have been known to do that. When a woman is very financially set, like the girl who won Mega Million, she paid millions to get him out of jail, and they still locked him up. And the state was so smart. The state charged her triple what they would charge the average broke person to bond him out of jail. They bonded her. They posted that price for her because they knew she won the Mega Million. Now, had that been anybody else, regular baby daddy that got locked up, they probably would only have to pay $300 or $400 for bail bond money. But she has spent millions, and they still locked him up and kept him. So imagine what the system is going to do to Nicki Minaj. If they see she's willing to throw all those millions out, them lawyers are going to rip her in half. That judge is going to rip her in half. That district attorney is going to rip her in half. And I would not be surprised. I fear for Nikki. I don't think she's going to make a good decision, y'all. I don't know. I believe she's going to get so desperate. She's going to want Petty so badly to be in her life. She's going to be willing to sacrifice almost any and every dime until she sees that bank account is getting lower, and all that spending is still not digging him out of that hole. Hopefully the light bulb go off in her brain quick before she ends up having to file bankruptcy. So that may be one thing that she might do. She may be willing to spend all her money just to try to help him. The second thing, if she decides to stay, if Nicki Minaj decides to stay with Pookie Petty, she may realize that she is way in over her head and she can no longer afford to keep fooling herself and faking the funk to the public. Now, that's another possibility. She may realize, damn, I done bit off more than I can chew. I done messed up. I need to jump ship before this dude costs me any more money, embarrassment than what he has already cost. I'm hoping for her sake she find out before it's too late. When she gets tired of putting up the front and the fake shenanigans of me and my perfect relationship, me and my perfect husband, all because you burnt because Safari just had a baby. Meek Mill got a baby on the way. You doing all of this to try to hurt these guys and prove a point. But in the same token, you hurting yourself though. You hurting yourself because you're trying to hold on to somebody that's basically going to destroy you when it's all said and done. So hopefully she figures it out before it's too late. So that's a probability. She may realize, oh no, I need to get out of this situation. I'm getting broke. My accountant already done warned me. I don't need to spend, I need to tighten up. Hopefully. Now, the last probability, if Nicki Minaj decides to stay with Kenneth, she's going to hold on to pedophile Pookie, even though behind closed doors she may be suffering and living in misery trying to maintain a marriage with a man that has excessive baggage. This is my guess. Nikki is going to put up a good united front and a good fight because she can't afford to look like a failure to everyone that never had faith in her with getting with Pookie in the first goddamn place. If she leaves him, I will be shocked, and I owe everyone in here in Ice House in a real plate. I will be shocked. But this is my opinion. I think she's going to fight and hang in there. I think she's, because of her pride, her ego, and the fact that the two men who she cared so much about, who she loved, who she bragged about, the fact that these men have moved on. Meek Mill done moved on. He just has a child on the way. Safari done had a little girl. I believe all the while of the fact that these men have moved on and never looked back, Nikki is going to look at it like, I cannot afford to fail. I cannot afford to take another L. So I'm going to hold on to Kenneth as long as I can. I think that's what she's going to do, because a lot of people are not rooting for Nikki and Kenneth, pedophile Pookie. A lot of people not rooting for them. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not rooting for them. I've never cared for that dude the moment I saw her with him. He just has a sneaky ass vibe. First of all, he was already in a relationship with somebody that he left her for, and the girl he left her for, she looks very similar to Nicki Minaj, so evidently he has a type. The guy is just shady, man. He has a reckless, he has an extensive criminal record from here, to Afghanistan. This guy, I just really don't see nothing good in it coming out for her. And it's like a red flag, because she's seeing all the signs. She's seeing all the signs. You can't even ignore it now. He has to register as a sex offender. So now, Nikki, now what are you gonna do? Because it even comes a point where your money can't protect you from everything. Your money is not going to protect him in this. It's not. She cannot save him. Even with all her millions, she cannot save him. She could put him in a Lamborghini. She could put him in a brand new house. But guess what? No matter where she put him at, he's still going to be a registered sex offender. He's just going to be he's just going to be a registered sex offender married to a rich ass successful woman. But it's not going to change what he is. I just felt it was important that everybody, that I put everybody on with this particular story, because it seems like it wasn't really announced. I figured by now somebody else would already did a video on it, but it's already been bought out that Kenneth Petty had to re-register for as a offender. So I don't know how this is going to affect their marriage in the near future. But things are going to be totally different, because now he's going to have so many rules. He's not going to be able to just go with her places like he wants to go. He's not going to get a passport. This is what happens, ladies, when you decide to get a thug. Just because he putting it down in the bedroom, just because he knows how to beat it, eat it, whatever, all this wonderful stuff he does in the bedroom. The reality is, if you're dealing with a thug, you're basically going to limit yourself from being able to have more than what you got. Exactly, they say, you're right. She wants a child and is settling. She wants a child so bad because Meek Mill is about to have a child, and Safari just had a little girl. So that's desperation is settling in pretty hard, and Nikki is so determined. That's the scary part about this whole situation. Nikki is so determined by any means necessary. And sometimes you just have to realize as a woman where sometimes you got to be last. Sometimes you got to wait on your turn for God to send you the right man, and same thing with you guys, same thing with you men. You had a woman you cared about, you loved her, and for whatever reason she decided to leave you or walk out your life. You think you've proven a point by jumping and running to the next chick. Oh, you a female, you running and jumping to the next dude, all because you want to prove a point. But This is the part that Nicki Minaj is not understanding. You really didn't get past Safari. She really didn't get past Meek Mill. So if this guy fails her, which he's already doing that, or if it gets to the point where she cannot fake the funk, don't you know that's hurt added on top of hurt, not as more hurt added on top of that hurt? It just hurt on top of hurt on top of hurt because she did not protect herself. She did not give herself time to heal and be able to withstand a next relationship possibly not working out. She did not give herself no time, ladies and gentlemen. And I think because of that, it's going to come back and backfire on her. But this has definitely been a very, very interesting discussion. Again, if you decide that you want to that you're going to be with a man that's a registered sex offender, please take all of these tips that I have given you into consideration. It's no joke. His whole life is going to be totally different from hers. They're not going to be able to have a normal marriage. It's not going to happen. I don't care how many expensive restaurants they go to, how many more expensive cars she buys them. They're not going to be able to have a healthy marriage at this point because he's going to be so limited in what he can do with her and for her. So for all you ladies out here there, hopefully you learn from this content. Don't be a Nicki Minaj. Don't think you can pick up a man that has an extensive criminal record, has 5 children. I think has 5 baby mamas. Yeah, he has a lot of baby mamas. This man is just, you know, a D minus. She really, really lowered her standards. And that's all because desperation set in. And if you're not careful, it can happen. Been in a relationship and see a person you was in a relationship, they move on and be happy and their life just continue to go great. And here it is, you feel like you're still on the losing end because you're not doing as great as they are. You still struggling, trying to find you somebody and they got somebody. The devil has a way of playing tricks on you, playing mind tricks on you and make you feel like a failure, making you feel like a loser. But when you let desperation set in, you make poor choices, you make bad decisions. And as a black woman, we can't afford to have making too many poor choices because we don't have a lot of choices as it is, because there's a lot of other black women out here who has made it look bad for black women that are decent, for black women who want something, for black women who are trying to have something fulfilling. It's too many ratchet bras out here that's making all of us look bad right now. So we cannot even afford any screw ups. But anyway, I have been doing this stream for an hour and 30, a little over an hour and 30 minutes. So I definitely appreciate each and every one of y'all for hanging out with me. For those of you who are going to be viewing this later, because you couldn't catch my live, I definitely would like to get your opinion on this situation. What do you think about Nicki Minaj and some of these other women out here that are letting desperation set in, where they are marrying these Pookie pedophiles like Nicki Minaj did? So again, ladies, please do your research. Take your time. Don't be trying to hurry up and get a one up on your ex boyfriend or your ex-husband because he done moved on with his life and him and his new wife seems like they're doing great. They riding off into the sunset, and here it is. You still struggling. You haven't found your Mr. Right yet. Don't let desperation set in. You don't know how God is going to work things out in your favor. Just trust in him and believe, and he'll send you the right man. So with that being said, I'm going to get ready to shut it down, y'all. For anybody who's interested in cable, also I sell cable for 25 um for 25 month, over 6,000 channels for those of y'all who are interested in cable. But you do have to have a Fire Stick and you do have to have high speed internet, and I can connect your cable today. If for those of you who are interested, just email me at Cafe de Paris. This is my email. So for those of you who are interested in cable, you are welcome to email me. For those who would like to cash out and support my brand, you're welcome to cash out me at Diamond Girl. No amount is too big or too small. Also, this content is brought to you by the No Fuckery Zone, promoting knowledge, not garbage. So on that note, everybody, it has been awesome. And again, I thank everybody for hanging out with me and tuning in with me at Mocha's Cafe de Paris. Y'all have a blessed and wonderful weekend. Take care, everyone. Bye.